Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of You Can Make That, the cooking show that focuses on delicious, affordable, and quick recipes you can make at home. Tonight we're going to focus on one of my favorite weeknight recipes, roasted fish. But we're not going to just do fillets, we're doing the whole fish. Whole roasted fish is one of my favorite things to make during the week. It's both beautiful, tasty, and affordable. Come and join me, let's gather our ingredients. Today is especially cold and rainy here in San Francisco, and I want to remind myself that spring is right around the corner. So tonight's ingredients will be really focused on fresh, light items that make me think of springtime. Let's look at what we need for our fish. You're going to need 2 cups of cherry tomatoes, a rice vinegar or a light white vinegar, olive oil, garlic, about 2 large cloves, lemon, fennel for our side dish, pepper, salt, a dry herb you really like. I love herbes de Provence and I think it'll balance everything nicely. Red chili flakes, and then thyme. And then let's not forget the star of the show, our whole sea bream. He's in from New Zealand, fresh at the fishmonger, and he looks amazing. Now, one of the things that you want to do is, this guy has actually been cleaned already. They haven't taken everything, so I'm going to go ahead and trim these extra fins here and also probably his dorsal fin, so it makes it easier when we roast him. But when you are picking a fresh fish, these are the things to look for. Always look to make sure their eyes are not cloudy, they're nice and clear. And then the gills. Unfortunately right now, the gills are taken out, but when you open this up, you're gonna make sure you see a bright red. That means that they're fresh and oxygenated, and this fish is a beautiful example. So the cherry tomatoes are gonna need about 20 minutes to 30 minutes at room temperature to really marinate. So we wanna go ahead and get those started before we handle the fish. Let's first go ahead and preheat our oven to 450 degrees. Grab over the vinegar, the olive oil, the cherry tomatoes, and the garlic, as well as your dry herbs of your choice and the red pepper flakes. And then let's start prepping. So to begin your prep, let's go ahead and have that 2 cups of cherry tomatoes so that we open up their beautiful juicy insides and allow the salt and other ingredients that we're going to put into this bowl to really permeate and bring out the flavors of the fresh tomatoes. So I've just finished having those 2 cups of cherry tomatoes, and what we're going to do now is put in the rest of the ingredients to make the marinade to get these going for the next 20 to 30 minutes. After slicing those 2 cloves of garlic very thinly, or as thinly as you need, it doesn't need to be crazy, you're going to put maybe 3 to 4 of those slices in with the tomatoes, and then about half to a quarter teaspoon of red chili flakes. Something that you don't want to make it too spicy, but you definitely want to bring it out. Another option is if you wanted to slice fresh chili, just make it a very, very small one, slice it up finely, and it'll really nicely marinate. We're going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Put it all nice over there. Great. And then 1 tablespoon of that white vinegar of your choice. Reminder, I'm using the rice vinegar. I just like the complexity of the flavor on it. It's not too overpowering. Then about a teaspoon of sea salt or kosher salt, your choice. Just enough to bring out flavoring. Fresh ground pepper, about half a teaspoon. And then remember those dry herbs. So I'm gonna say, as I like herbes de Provence so much, and it's really gonna be the flavor of the tomatoes, I'm gonna go ahead and say about a teaspoon to just under. Great. Oop, wrong lid. And then we're gonna go ahead and mix that all around. Don't be afraid to use your hands, it's okay. Get them nice and covered. Great, just like that. So they should be really nice and covered. All of the juices you can see being able to sort of mix together, that olive oil as well as the vinegar, and then the seasoning we put in will really help these marinate and become something quite delicious in about 20 minutes. Okay, now that those tomatoes are marinating, we're gonna handle the further cleanup of this fish. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of really sharp kitchen shears. They will be your best friend in a kitchen. You can get things, you know, where they're about $15, $10. Just make sure you have something that, one, has a nice heavy weight to it, so it can really get through things like bones, skin, but also has the ability to come apart, which I'll show you afterward, well, like that, for easy cleaning, so you can make sure you can get through all of the germs. I got this one at Williams-Sonoma. It's a Shun kitchen knife, and several of my pieces are Shun, and one of my favorite purchases I ever made. All right, so at the fishmonger, we did ask him to go ahead and clean the fish. So we had bought him as a whole fish with all the innards, everything. He went ahead and cleaned it, but he didn't quite finish taking off all of the parts. So we're just gonna go ahead and clean the rest of that off. Just snip off the fins, because we're gonna wanna go ahead and be able to eat this once it's done. So take the other side off, boop. Let's clip that fin right off. Yep. Again, another fin. And then we're going to take the back fins. Again, just go ahead and clip them off. Don't be afraid. They come off pretty easily when you have a good knife or scissors. Just be careful of your fingers and the sharp parts. Take your time. You don't want to have any accidents or lose any fingers. This part here, I turn that around and flip it. When you need a good pair of scissors and really get it. Goodness, this part's tough. There, we got it. Perfect. So that's pretty clean. The one thing I'm gonna say is I don't feel that he's opened up this cavity enough. We're really gonna want that cavity opened up further, so we can get into all of the inner parts of the fish and really stuff it when we grill it. So let me grab my sharper knife, wash my hands again because they're a little slippery, and get that fully opened up, and I'll meet you back here in a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm back, and I have my deboning fish knife. This is one of the favorite pieces I have of equipment when it comes to my knives. As you can see, it's really nice and sturdy, very sharp. And what I'm gonna do is just go ahead, and if you can see this, I'm going to open up this section of the fish here just to get a little bit wider. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut right along that bone. It's just to kind of, in that inside bone, you're gonna feel that as well. Just to get that a little bit wider along. You don't wanna butcher it though, so just enough to get it nice and wide. See? The perfect cavity for us to put all of the goodness inside. Now that you've finished cleaning your fish and getting all the rest of those scales off or any other fins you don't want, we can go ahead and gather the things we're going to stuff the fish with. So that would be the sliced garlic, the lemon, additional more herbs, olive oil, of course, salt and pepper, and then the thyme. So again, as I mentioned, the fresh thyme is probably one of the best key ingredients. I have a little herb garden, and I grow in that garden both regular thyme, some rosemary, parsley, and then lemon thyme. If you've never had lemon thyme, I would definitely advise that you try it and get it. It's amazing. Not only does it have that fresh thyme scent, it has the most amazing lemon and citrusy scent. It's gonna be perfect for fish. I went ahead and poured some of the salt into this little ramekin just because I'm gonna be handling the fish and the salt and the fish and the salt, and I don't wanna cross-contaminate my normal supply. And that's something you just wanna make sure that you're always thinking about when you're handling any type of raw food and fresh ingredients. So the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and salt the body. And then put a little pepper. And then a few lemon slices down here, right on the cavity. I'll turn that around for you. You guys can see. Ooh, those are big. Let's go ahead and do that. Move right under that skin. Maybe move this guy over. It's like a little jigsaw. You want to get it stuffed in there. Like this. And then some of the garlic that we put in there. Okay. And then that fresh lemon thyme. Really stuff that in. Go ahead and put a little bit more garlic if you want. There we go. So then he's nice and stuffed. As you can see the cavity. Nice layers of both the fresh herbs, the garlic, and the lemon. And we're gonna go ahead and put olive oil and salt and pepper all over both sides of the fish before we put it into the aluminum foil to bake. Here, don't be afraid to, again, be generous with both the olive oil and the salt and pepper. Get that all over his skin. So you're gonna want that. I go ahead and pour a little in my hand. Just get a nice rub all over that fish's skin. Also kind of rubs in the salt and the pepper as well. So it's nice, glisteningly oily. Flip them over and do everything again on the same side. Now you can see why I had decided to put that salt in its ramekin. This handle I can easily wipe down, which is good. Again, just a nice amount of olive oil. Too much olive oil is not a bad thing in this. All right, so let me grab some aluminum foil and a sheet tray and get him on this, and I'll meet you here in a second for putting him into the oven. So this fish is actually pretty large, so you're gonna need 2 aluminum foil tray pieces, at least I'm going to. If he's a little bit smaller, a little less long, you should be fine with 1. You're gonna go ahead and just prep it a little because you don't want that skin to stick on the aluminum foil. You make a tent with it. And then I think it's nice that if you have any more remaining lemon, go ahead and make it an extra little bed. And then place the fish on top, just like so. And then this is not crazy. You're just gonna make a little tent for him. Just close up all the sides, nothing super fancy. You just wanna be able to give enough room that as he's steaming and cooking, he kind of cooks in his own juices and really has this like circulatory, hot, steamy, olive oily, fresh lemon, fresh herb powerhouse going on inside, and you're sure to make a delicious fish. So let's go ahead and put him in the oven. It's already been preheated to that 450 degrees. Set the timer for 20 minutes and move on to our fennel. So let's go ahead and get him into the oven. It's already been preheated to 450 degrees, and then we'll move on to our fennel. Okay, fennel. So what is that crazy herb? Look at it. It's kind of insane. I'm sure you've probably seen it at your local farmer's market, and you're like, I think I know what that is, but I don't know how it tastes, and I certainly don't know what to do about cooking with it. Well, you can use the bushy herbs here for fish. I actually chose not to use because we're using the lemon thyme, but you can go ahead and put it in there, and it gives a nice light flavor, very fresh. But the most important part of fennel is the bulb, and this is delicious, absolutely delicious. Thinly sliced and sauteed with just a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're gonna really concentrate on this bulb. Let's just quickly clean off all of the huge bushy top. You can do that with just a quick removal of all of the bush. There you go. You can get rid of that or put it aside for later. And then we're gonna go ahead and clean it by removing the bottom. Ooh. If he's really big like this, go ahead and cut it in half first to make it a little bit easier. Let's get that bottom off. Anything you don't want, put aside for your compost or your food processor. Then you've got these outer leaves. It's like an onion almost, see? Where it has all of these different layers. Most of the layers are pretty good. I don't think you have to really do a lot of cleaning up with this. He's already been pre-washed and he's pretty good. So what we're gonna do is just slice it this way, like you would an onion. Or you can also slice it this way so that all of your pieces are like this. I actually think tonight, given how he's behaving, let's go ahead with the safest part, which is always a flat side down, and slice here. Just get nice thin slices. Just remember your fingers. Doesn't have to be super thin. I'll show you in a second. So these are kind of what they look like as they have been sliced. So as you can see, not super thin, probably about, what's that, ½ an inch. Just gather that to the side like this. Do the other half. Now this actually will cook on the stove top with just a little bit of olive oil relatively quickly. So you want to make sure you don't let the fish overcook. So maybe about 10 minutes into the fish cooking, you put this fennel on the stove top. So I'm gonna go grab a pan, and I have my olive oil, and I'm gonna get this ready. Meet you in a second. Okay, let's start on our fennel. Let's put about tablespoon and a half of olive oil in the pan. Heat that up. You want this to be probably medium to medium-high heat, depending on how big your burner underneath your olive oil is. Make sure that it gets it nice and coated. Let that sit for a second, and then we'll go ahead and put our fennel in. Heat it up. In the meantime, I'm gonna check on those tomatoes. Ooh, look, see how they're looking really nice and juicy? This is gonna be perfect. Great. All right, let's get these guys in. Don't worry, you can go ahead and crowd them. It's totally fine. And I'll start to sizzle and sear. And it's okay if you get some of the tops from when you cut them in there. It'll just add to the flavor. Okay. Let's let these sit here. We'll start to hear them cook. And I'll meet you in about a minute. All right, so fennel is getting nice and sauteed, as you can see. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. I like to use tongs on this. It's just a little easier to get them moving around. You see how they're nice and browning? Look at that bad boy. I'm just gonna keep it going here. You don't want to get them burned, so you're going to go ahead and rotate them. Bring the ones that were at the bottom towards the bottom up to the top, and get those other ones towards the bottom. And then just let them sit again. They require very, very little work. Just watching them every so often to make sure that they don't overlay down. All right, it's been about 15 minutes with these in here, and they've gotten a nice little caramelization on them. I added a little bit of salt midway through, and they are ready to come off of the fire. Additionally, the fish is done. So let's get that out of the oven and see what it looks like. So this is, ooh, it smells delicious. You can't smell it, but if there was smell-o-vision, you would be happy. Let's go ahead and open up the foil and see what we have. You can see that steam coming up, really nice and hot. Oh, he's beautiful. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Really nice. Okay, let's take a look. Wow. So he's been fully cooked through. His flesh is nice and supple. You can see that he started to release some juices, which will be really good. So let's go ahead and get this plated. I am so excited to eat this. It looks fantastic. Not only is the fish well cooked, it smells delicious, and the presentation is gorgeous. Let's take a look. Here we go. Here is our final presentation of the fish. As you can see, the full family plate looks fantastic. I added some extra lemon wedges just in case, and then the fresh tomato salad that'll be perfect once we get the fish filleted and on the plates. I hope that tonight's recipe really showed you how easy it is to make whole fish. Not only is it a rewarding dish to make because it looks fantastic and like you slaved in the kitchen for hours, but it's really tasty, super easy, and is perfect for both a weeknight or a dinner party dish. I'm super excited about digging into this, almost as much as you probably are in making it. So I really hope that this helped you look at the fish when you're in the market next time and say, I can make that.